All right, what's up, guys? Today is going to be the 8th installment of the How to Train Your Grandma series. We're starting to wind up this series as I only have one more video after this one. Today we're going to talk about rotational movements. Now, a lot of people tend to overlook this plane of motion when it comes to their training in general, but especially the training of the older population. A lot of people tend to neglect rotational movements. Now, they aren't going to be out here throwing discus or needing to perform Russian twists with a 45-pound plate or anything like that. But it's important, if they ever want to turn to pick something up, or, if they're on the ground, they need to roll over, or if they're laying in bed, they need to roll themselves up and out of bed. It's important that their core muscles can engage properly and are also strong enough and mobile enough to handle the demands that, they may be placing upon that musculature. So rotational movements are extremely important and definitely need to be incorporated into their training. There is a handful of ways that we can go about this. Russian twist, for example, extremely scalable movement. You can start with their heels on the ground. That way it's a little bit easier. You can have them obviously pick their heels up for a challenge, progress into a straight leg Russian twist as well, if need be. But like I said, I really like the Russian twist because it's extremely scalable. You don't have to go extremely heavy. You can really just use a light object to start to really build that range of motion and slowly increase the strength over time. Another thing that I really like is the Palloff press. This mainly because this can, again, all these are extremely scalable. I like the Palloff press because it can be done with a band, and then obviously you can increase the resistance as you see fit. It can also be done with the cable machine. Another great rotational movement is the cable wood chopper. This one is really good because you can go from low to high or high to low, and this can also, again, be done with a band. Extremely scalable movement. I'm also a big fan of landmine rotations. Now, this one definitely need to be a little bit weary of because it's going to take a lot more control, and it is going to be a bit more weight unless you have access to a lighter barbell like a 15 or a 25-pound barbell. But I really like the landmine rotation because this is a ground-based activity as well, much like the wood chopper is. So they're going to have to incorporate their entire body when they're thinking of how they're going to rotate. So it's going to get, the hips, the knees, and the feet and the ankles involved as well. So I really like that movement as well. And again, these are all extremely scalable, and that is primarily what we want to focus on when we are training this demographic, again, because we want to meet them where they're at. We want to find what abilities they do have currently and then learn how we can progress those abilities further. Rotational movements are, again, commonly neglected. And so I think even throwing one of these movements in a week can tremendously increase the flexibility, the strength, and the tolerance to which they can withstand those ranges, and then also how deep they can access, being able to turn their body without limitations or other muscles engaging that aren't supposed to be for compensating for other weak muscles that can lead to injury down the line. So make sure that if you are training older population clients, you are including rotational movements into their training, as this is going to be extremely beneficial for them.